Okay, this isn't real fun here. You're going to have to work on this a few days with me as notes before you're ready to even try it on your own. Now, we've done all the stuff at one point or another, but now it's all mixed together. We need to factor these. We need to make this into as many parentheses as I possibly can. There's either 2 terms or 3 terms, okay? So I make underline, and this is kind of a cheat sheet to use. And I see that we have 2 terms. So with 2 terms, I set up these 2 boxes, okay? The GCF box, which we've done many, many times, probably at least 100. I'm not saying that sarcastically, probably has been. And then my second box, I'm going to make a difference of perfect squares, okay? Put question mark. And then we make 2 parentheses with a plus in the middle on the first one, a minus in the middle on the next one. Okay, my greatest common factor. Remember how to do that. Down beneath is written steps how to figure the GCF out. Do you have a negative in front of the very first number, the 6? No, you don't, so the GCF will not be negative. Do you have X on everything? Look at your 2 lines. I see X and X, so yes, I do. Now that's X to the second. This is X to the first, so we take the smaller X, which is to the first. And now I do the GCF calculator with 6 and 18. Okay. And I got 6. Okay. So since I did not just get 1, I need to change my expression. I put the 6x to the first outside of here. Okay. Then I go up and divide by 6x to the first. Now, here's how I divide. 6 divided by 6, it's not 0, okay? Any number divided by itself is 1. And then with the x, we take 2 minus 1. We subtract the exponents, and that's 1. So 1x to the first. Now I take positive 18 divided by positive 6, and I got 3. Positive, so I put a plus. Now with the x's I can cross out because they both have the same power. So if they're both to the same power, we just eliminate the x's on that one, but we can't on this one because that's a 2, that's a 1. So we got to go through with that. All right, now DOPS, difference of perfect squares. It's what we did last Thursday and Friday. You guys got it, but it wasn't within, that was all you pretty much did. Now remember the rules for DOPS. And by the way, when you're looking at this and this. Forget about the 6, x to the first. You're looking in the second parentheses. Okay, this parentheses here is done. Okay. Okay, now, the first thing I see, check for x to the second. Well, your x is not to the second power, so right away, you can put NP, standing for not possible. Now, stop. That's all you have to do, okay, on this one. So these are my 2 factors. Your parentheses are. So F1, F2, okay? We're not solving, so just put that those are the 2 factors. Okay. Negative 3x to the second power plus 75. Again, how many terms? There's 2 or 3. Looks to me like 2. So again, these same 2 boxes. GCF and DOPS. I know you guys don't like this. I know it's not fun, okay? So DOPS, difference of perfect squares. That's I'm making do the same thing as last problem. Set it up. This is going to come out differently. GCF, do you have a negative in front? Yes, so we need to make the GCF into a negative. Do you have x on everything? No. 75 does not have the x variable, so I will not be putting x in the GCF. Now I use my GCF calculator, 3 and 75. I got 3. So I put 3 with my negative, and that means I have to go do this. So I put negative 3 in parentheses. Then I go up and divide by negative 3, but it's just negative 3. So I take negative 3 divided by negative 3. That's 1. Now I don't have an x down here, so I just keep the x to the power that I see, to the second. And then I divide positive 75 by negative 3. And that's negative 25. So I put 25, but I put a minus because I got a negative. Okay. Now for the DOP step, you're looking at these two, the second parentheses, not this. You don't give a two you-know-whats about this. Okay. Check for x to the second. Oh, we have it, so I know what to do there. I put x and x. Now I look at the next thing. Is the second number negative? Yes, it is, so I keep going. Are the two numbers perfect squares? Well, by the two numbers I mean 1 and 25. I don't care about that dang negative 3. Now, is 1 on this list of numbers going this way? This is the list I'm worried about, okay? I don't care about these. I'll figure these out, but it's got to be these numbers. Is 1 on that list? Yeah, it's 1 times 1, so I put 1, 1. Is 25 on the list? Yeah, it's 5 times 5, so I put 5 and 5, okay? This has turned into these two parentheses. Now, one thing I want you to do, though, after you're done, is take the GCF factor, this, and put it down here with your other two. This comes down here, and this has been rewritten as these two factors, okay? So we have an F1, we have an F2, and we actually have F3. 3 factors. So after you get done in the second box, you need to look up here and put what the GCF was down here. Just drop it down. It's real simple. Okay, now my next problem. I flip this back over. I have the perfect square numbers right there if you need them. Okay. Now this time, I count how many terms. It appears this time we have 3. So I make my GCF box. And then I set up that T box. Okay, so I have to know these basic 2 techniques. Okay, we did this a lot. So GCF. Same rules for the GCF. Do you have a negative in the front? No, you don't. Do you have x on everything? Well, we have x there to the second. We have x there to the first, but we don't have an x here. So I will not put x in the GCF. And then GCF calculator. So 2, 4, and 48. You just put in 3 numbers as opposed to 2. Okay, I got a GCF of 2, so I did not get 1. So I make a parentheses and put 2. So that means I need to divide all of these by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, but I don't have an x down here, so the x will stay to the second power. Then we will take negative 4 divided by 2, and that's negative 2. So I put minus 2, and that x stays to the first power. Then I take negative 48 divided by 2, And that's negative 24 minus. Now, after the GCF's done, cross out those. On the second problem, yeah. That's with all problems. After you do your GCF, you should cross that out. I didn't do that on the first two. I should have. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, we know how to do a t-test. We go A, B, C. Again, I don't give a crap about this when I'm doing my second box. It's the second parentheses I look inside. Okay, I connect the A to the C, and I take positive 1 times negative 24. That gives me negative 24. Now I want to put negative because that tells me that I'm minusing. The minus needs to equal 2, which is negative. Okay, now I'm ready to go. 1 and 24. 24 minus 1 is not 2, though. So I divide 24 by 2, I get 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. I do not have 10 there. Okay. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So 8 minus 3 is not 2. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So 4 and 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. So I have found the two values. The 2 being negative as it is means the 6 is negative. And having a negative up here means the signs have to be opposite, because a negative times a positive would equal negative. Now A equals, here's my A, it's a 1, x to the second. So I have a 1. I'm going to make 4 parentheses every time, just so we don't get all confused. So I put 1, 1, x, x, plus 4, minus 6. Okay, so to find out what goes here, we divide these down 2 at a time. So 1, 4. And if your head's spinning, that's fine. We're going to keep working on this, okay, until we just get better at it. 1 divided by 1 is 1x. 4 divided by 1 is 4. So plus 4. Cross it out. 1 and 6, the GCF's 1, okay? So 1. That'll stay the same as well. I know you're like, well, that was kind of pointless. Yeah, but sometimes it does change, okay? So I have these two factors, and then I go look up here, and I got to remember that that 2 goes here. So I have 3 factors, F1, F2, F3. Okay, next problem. How many terms do I have? I have 3. Okay. Okay. So GCF is the first box I make, and then I make my T box. Okay, remember I do negative in front. That is not negative. Now, do I have X on everything? Yeah. No, I don't. Okay, because that'd be to the first, but then that doesn't have an X. Then GCF calculator, 24, 6, 9. So it's 3. So I actually need to do 3. Okay. Now I divide. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Now that X is to the second, okay? Positive 6 divided by 3 is 2. So plus 2. Just keep your X to the same power if you don't put an X down there. Then negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. So 3 minus. Now, after the GCF box is filled out, cross out the original. The less things you have to look at, the better it is. It's less confusing. Okay, now we do our t-test. The ABC is these three that are together. The 3 doesn't mean anything, okay, at this point. Okay, so I connect the A to the C and multiply 8 times -3. It's -24. So I got 24, and we came up with another negative, so that's going to be a minus. I'm trying to minus to equal 2. What's in between the 2 is a 2. It's positive. Okay, 1 and 24 is not minus to 2. Okay. So 2, 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. That's not going to work. Okay. 3, 8. 8 minus 3 is not 2. And 4. 4 and 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. So we have it. Okay, now the 2 being plus means that 6 is plus. We have a negative, so again, the signs have got to be opposite. Okay, now A. When I did the A, it was 8x to the second. So at the end of the 2 parentheses, I had to come up with 2 factors that would equal 8x to the second. So again, I'm just going to make 4 every time. So 8. If you make 4 every time, you can't go wrong. Okay? Minus 4 plus 6. Okay, so I pair 8 with 4. And I got 4. Okay, so I'm going to divide these by 4. And that's 2x minus 1. Then 8 and 6. And that's 2, so I divide by 2. That's 4x plus 3. Now, I know you're ready to move on, but remember to carry down your GCF factor after you have completed the process in the second box and you have F1, F2, F3. Okay. Next problem. Now we're back to having 2, okay? So GCF DOPS, okay? GCF, and then your DOPS, that's making the 2 parentheses with the plus in one, the minus in the other, and you're hoping you can come up with the same thing in each. If you can't, oh well. Okay, GCF. Do you have a negative in front? I do not. Do you have X on everything? Nope, 72 doesn't have X. GCF calculator, 2 and 72. I got 2. So I did not get 1, so I have to do the box. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. The x is going to stay to the second. And then I take negative 72 divided by 2, and that's negative 36. So 36, put a minus since it was a negative. Get rid of that. Don't want to see that anymore. Now the DOPS. Again, we're just looking in here. Kind of like when you do the T-chart, you're looking in here. When you do the DOPS, you're looking in here. Okay? Check for x to the second. It's there. So I put x. X. Is our second number negative? It has to be if I'm going to do this, otherwise it's an NP. Yes, it is. Are the two numbers perfect squares? By the two numbers, I mean 1 and 36. I don't care about this. 136. Well, 1 is on here. That's 1, 1. And 36, that's on here. That's 6, 6. Okay, now we're done. But remember, after I've completed the process in the second box, we need to carry our GCF down. Okay. Now, if there would not be a GCF or I cross it out, then I don't. But if there is, I need to. Okay, my next problem. Again, we're dealing with two terms. Okay. So the same two boxes. Okay, GCF and DOPS. Okay. GCF negative in front. Yes, I do. So you better make your GCF negative. Do you have X on everything? Yeah. X second and X the first. So that means we need to put X to its lowest power, the first. Give yourself some room between the negative and the X to the first because we need to find a number to go there. And that's when I do my 6 and 12 on the GCF calculator. So 6, okay. Okay, so I need to factor out negative 6x to the first. Negative 6x first. Okay. Negative 6x to the first, negative 6x first. Okay, so negative 6 divided by negative 6 is 1. Now, we do have an x under here. That means I need to minus the powers. 2 minus 1 is 1. Positive 12 divided by negative 6 is negative 2. So I put 2 minus. Now these are to the same power, so they may be crossed out. Okay, now the difference of perfect squares. Check for x to the second. Remember, in this parentheses here, I don't care about that. That's done. That's yesterday's news. My x is not to the second. So that's NP. Okay, and I just label my F1 up 2 up here in the first box. I couldn't do the second box, so okay, last two. This is no easy stuff. It's complicated. Okay, it's like the worst thing we have to do. This time I got 3. Well, 3. I don't mean to sound all negative, but I'm just being honest. Okay, so GCF. And now I make a different box. Now I'm going to that T chart organizer. T-chart's what I call it. So, do we have a negative in front? Nope. Do you have X in our thing? Well, we got X to the second here. We've got X to the first here, but 30 doesn't have X, so I don't put X there. Now, GCF calculator, you have 3 numbers, though, because there's 3 terms. 3, 9, 30. You can't put in negative 30. It's not going to let you. See, if I try to go negative 30, says do not use negative values. Okay, so 3, 9, and 30. I got 3. So again, factor out 3. I'll go divide. Now the x powers are going to be left alone because I'm not putting an x down here with my 3. Okay, so I divide 3 by 3. I get 1. X is to the power of 2. Positive 9 divided by 3 is positive 3. X to the power of 1. Negative 30 divided by 3 is negative 10. So 10 minus, okay? Now after that's complete, I don't want to see that, okay? So A, B, and C. So I take positive 1 times negative 10, connect the A to the C. So 1 times negative 10 is negative 10. So since it's a negative, that's going to be another minus. I didn't do a very good job putting mixtures of minuses and pluses on this packet. Okay, 3 is positive this time. Okay, so 1 and 10, that does not minus to 3. 2 and 5. Okay, so 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, now my 3 is plus. That means 5 is signed with a plus, and we have a negative here. That makes the signs opposite. Remember, if this is a positive, which I can tell already you're not going to have in this packet, then they're the same. But now that negative product means they're opposites. So positive 5, negative 2. Okay, now A. Here's my A. 1x to the second. So again, I will do the Berry method here. So 1x, and then the minus 2 and the plus 5. Okay, so 1 and 2. By the way, whenever you punch in 1 as one of the numbers, it's going to give you 1. Okay, if you want to save some time. That stays 1x minus 2 then. Okay, 1 and 5, it's going to give me 1 because whenever 1's one of the numbers, it's going to be 1, okay? That's 1x plus 5. Get rid of these, okay? So these are the two factors, but you did have your GCF. Again, you're wondering, where's that 3 come from? Right there, okay? Just carry it down. That's F1, F2, F3. Okay, our last one. 8x to the second minus 10x minus 12. Well, I'm factoring 3 terms. So again, I set up the same way I did the last problem. Okay, so our greatest common factor, well, don't have negative in front. Okay, x on everything, to the second, to the first, and no x at all, so I don't put x. GCF calculate 8, 10. Really, the GCF's finding the highest number you can divide all 3 values by and not get a decimal. That's what a GCF is. You get 2. But I'm not putting x down here, so these powers remain the same. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. When you divide by 2, you're just cutting the number in half. Okay, and the x will go to the second. And then negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So I write minus 5, but the x stays to the first. And then negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. So minus 6. Done. Get that crap out. Okay. Then A, B, C. So I take 4 times negative 6. That would give me a negative 24. So we have 24. Again, it's negative. So again, I'm minusing to try to come up with 5. 5 being negative. 1 and 24. 24 minus 1 isn't close to 5. 2, 12. Okay, 12 minus 2 is not 5. 3. 8 minus 3 is 5. Got 5, 5's negative, so 8's negative, and we have a negative up here, so that means the signs have to be the opposite. Once again. Okay, now A. The reason I cross this out, because I don't want people thinking A is 8. A is not 8. A is 4. So 4, x plus 3 and minus 8. Okay, so 4 and 3. I got 1, so again, that means that's just going to stay the same. 4 and 8. That's 4. That 4 divided by 4 is 1x. Don't put 0. Nothing divides to get 0. Okay? Unless you're dividing 0 actually by something. Negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. So again, I write 2 minus. All right. Now, again, here are your two factors, but then there's a third factor because of the GCF, the 2. Okay. Done.